At this time, I have to do another video like this. I hate doing videos like this because there's not the proper communication, but this is not my fault. It'll be proven in the future. The church was too egregious in their desire to not communicate and do the work all throughout my ministry. This is going to eventually yield on my side. Because of the egregiousness of the church, there was just too much sin and compromise and game where the church just didn't want to do the right thing or be accountable. And I'm talking about specific ministers not receiving me, and I'm also talking about in general the work not getting done. So the church was too egregious, and this is ultimately going to cost you guys 30% right off the top, 32%. If you're that egregious, if you have your marching orders and you're that egregious to not perform it, you're guilty. Now that's huge. That's a big one, because ultimately you being that egregious put me in harm's way. When I wanted to do the work, when I wanted to be faithful, it wasn't there. I believe that I got less help than Elijah. I believe Elijah of old got more help than me. It'll be proven on God's time, not mine. I would like to prove it today, but it'll be proven that I got virtually no help. None. Ever. I never got any help. Only egregiousness from the church. Okay? They knew who Elijah was. They knew he had power. They knew this, they knew that. I never got the indication the church really knew that about me. Okay? Elijah knew they knew. Okay? Elijah got more help. Elijah absolutely got more help than I did. That's 50% right there. The church is not going to vindicate or justify their position because I have repented successfully in 2021, and God even did a huge deliverance at that time. My heart has always been about deliverance and repenting. Just because you sin or you fall does not mean your heart isn't willing to do the work. King David sinned and fell, but he would repent. And that's why God loved him. Because even though he messed up, he would repent. I already repented of what I am guilty of in 2021. I have not sinned since 2021. And I repented in 2021 of the sins that I'm being judged for. So my heart's right. Just like King David sinned and repented, I sinned and repented. Has this church repented of anything over the last 30 years? No, they haven't even come close. So my first fears before my fall, before my mistake, are valid. This church was egregious in rejecting me because ultimately they had no heart to repent. You can't say the same thing about me or King David, because King David repented after Bathsheba and Uriah the Hittite, and I repented in 2021 of pretty much everything that I needed to repent of in order to be clean regarding what occurred over the last probably 7 to 10 years from 2021. So from 2011 on, I repented of everything. And the Lord delivered me in 2021. So my heart to repent is clear, just like King David. So I wanted to do the work, check. I wanted to be alone if I had to be, just like Elijah, check. And I had a heart to repent, check, and to do the work. You can't say the same thing about the church. They were egregious, so they didn't want to do the work, check. They had no desire to stand alone, or else they would have received me, check. And you still haven't repented, check. So when you actually, yeah, you're guilty. You're not going to escape this. The evidence is in. This church is just guilty a certain way. Even though I'm guilty as well, this church is guilty a certain way. I'm not egregious, and I've repented. And I had a desire to stand alone, whereas none of you had a desire to receive me by yourselves. Standing alone for this ministry is a lot harder than being one of you, like Michael Boldea, and receiving me. It's a lot easier to be Michael Boldea and receive me than it is for me to be completely by myself and to do this job. So when you look at the evidence, when you break it down, it's not good.